Hi, it's Nur at Tetrahedron Healing, where we discuss the tarot and using the tarot as a form of self-introspection. I'm having the news playing in the background, and I'm going to do the salute to the sun in my own way because I don't believe in perfection. But I do believe in physical exercise and sacred yogic positions. However, I feel that it's okay to do them in your own way. And I encourage you to do the same thing.
She called me and she was hysterical. She told me that there had been a shooting. And she was really too hysterical to give me any other information.
The lockdown now lifted, but students didn't return to classes today.
We did not have any other suspects. We have all the people that are involved, so we're slowing everything down.
Nervous parents are still waiting for any information about who the suspects were and how this happened. Authorities have not released the identities of the shooters. They say one was a juvenile and one was an adult, both male and both students. Also, all 8 people who were injured, also students. Lester, at this hour, we know some are in critical condition. Lester?
All right, Molly Hunter with the breaking news on another awful school shooting. We want to go, Molly, to the scene of the shooting in Douglas County, Colorado. We're joined by Chris Vanderveen from our affiliate KUSA. Chris, what's it like at the scene now?
Lester, I can tell you that a number of parents started coming to here at this location, not too far from where I am right now, utterly terrified by that news that came in right around 2 o'clock that there was an active shooter inside STEM School, Highlands Ranch. It is a school of about 1,900 students sectioned off into areas of middle school, high school, and grade school. And shortly after, the law enforcement started coming here to this scene to try to subdue 2 active shooters. They also encountered a number of parents that came here to the scene. This was a scene of terrified, panicked parents that were trying to understand what was taking place inside the school. We are hoping for an update from the Douglas County Sheriff's Department not too long from now. But last word, 7 students, 7 people injured inside the school, potentially an 8th, and 2 suspects apprehended after somewhat of a struggle inside the school as well. That's the latest from Douglas County.
All right, Chris Vanderveen at the scene. Thanks very much. We want to go to our justice correspondent, Pete Williams. Pete, what can you tell us about the response to this shooting?
Totally different. This campus is less than 10 miles away from Columbine High School, but the response to today's shooting is so much different. Columbine in 1999 convinced the nation's police that they needed to react to these reports differently, and today was a very vivid demonstration of that, with the first responders saying that they can actually hear gunshots inside as they arrive. That's completely different from what used to be the protocol: secure the perimeter and wait for the SWAT team. And this rapid swarm by police rushing toward the danger undoubtedly saves lives, Lester.
All right, Pete Williams in Washington, thank you. We are following every development of the story. We'll bring you any new information, of course, as we get it. We also want to get you caught up, though, on other breaking news at this hour. Millions on alert, including there in Colorado, as severe storms roll across a huge part of the country, spawning tornadoes and damaging hail. Al Roker joins us now with the latest. Al, where's this going?
Lester, we've got tornado watches up even as we speak through tonight, from Texas all the way to Oklahoma and Kansas. Storms firing up, and in fact, we expect hail, damaging wind, and tornadoes possible. Tomorrow it continues for 36 million people, especially from central Texas into central Arkansas, and even into Thursday, the lower Mississippi River Valley, looking at severe weather and heavy rain, anywhere from 5 to 6 inches locally.
Cow.
They stretch from Houston all the way to Chicago.
Cat.
All right, Al, thank you. Let's turn now to disturbing news
Cow.
that's made national headlines. For the first time, we're seeing some of what Sandra Bland saw during a traffic stop that escalated into her arrest. 3 days later, she was found dead in a Texas jail cell from apparent suicide. NBC's Morgan Weth has that story.
You just opened my car door.
Tonight, never-before-seen footage shot by Sandra Bland herself of the moment a Texas state trooper pointed a stun gun at her during a routine
Gonna
traffic
do the
stop
other leg
that went
now.
terribly wrong.
You threatened to drag me out of my own car.
Get out of the car!
And then you're
I
going to
will
stop
light
me?
you up.
Bland's own cell phone footage obtained by a Dallas news station recorded her vantage point as the trooper stopped her for changing lanes without signaling. Saying he felt threatened, he arrested her for assault.
You doing
Downward dog.
Today, if Officer Brian and Cinia had treated her differently. They say they hadn't seen the video until now.
What it does, without a shadow of a doubt, validate is that Brian and Cinia's behavior in the field, his lack of judgment, and his inability to really de-escalate that situation
John?
was what was the impetus behind why she
And
why she died in police custody.
Cinia was charged with perjury for lying about why he pulled Bland from the car. Those charges were dropped.
okay,
He agreed to turn in his badge permanently.
I'm gonna pick the tarot card of the day. I think I forgot to pick it before we did the yoga, but I was thinking that maybe it would be better to just clear our minds before we pick the card
And has in no way been concealed by the department.
and get into the physical exercise that
After the incident, and
is matching to the spiritual exercise we're about to do.
Trooper's attorney says the news
Okay, I'm gonna turn off the news
don't show anything new.
and go get a card. I'll be back.
Country of their loss.
Sandra, Sandy, known affectionately to us, was an
Alright, today I'm going to pick a card by just smushing them all on the carpet, and then I'll bring one to you. Boop. Alright, gonna put these all face down. Alright. Now that they're all face down, I'll pick one. Whoops, these two weren't. Alright. This is probably the most basic and classic shuffling method. I think my friend Evelyn taught me how to do this. Alright, we're going to pick our card of the day. Here's our card of the day. Five of Swords. Five of Swords. Today's card, Five of Swords. Well, this is a card of brutal honesty, first of all. That's what I'm getting from it. I don't know if everybody who's watching this tarot video knows, but when I first learned tarot, I was taught that your intuition carries more weight than the traditional meaning of the card. So what I'm trying to encourage you to do here is to look at the card and allow your first thought to be real, to believe in it, then to continue to look in the card and see how else that thought might be apparent in other forms, in other parts of the picture. I feel like this card shows a sword with roots and with new plant growth coming out. This person, after being stabbed in the back, has then pulled down the moon to stab someone else in the back. I think this is a heavy card. Traditionally, the Five of Swords, what it shows is 3 swords on the ground after a bloody battle. And 2 of the swords are being carried by the victor away. And the general message is, though you may have lost the battle, you did not lose the war, so to speak. You have 2 swords, 2 spires of truth 2 spires of clarity, 2 lines of awareness. And you have to accept defeat. Accept defeat. Accept defeat. Accept defeat. Accept defeat. Kind of sounds like I'm saying accept defeat, but I'm saying accept defeat. When I look at this part here, the sword going into her back, I'm noticing that not only are new flowers and herbs of some kind growing, but her body almost looks like it has grained like a tree. I think this is to say, this is a point of this card. This pointy card. 5 points. It's saying, from that which has betrayed you, when you were hurt, when you were injured, that injury caused new growth, new awareness, new resilience you had never even known you had. And from that growth, now you know more about yourself. We have to remember that even though swords are the bloodiest element in the tarot, the sword is it's a trick. It's not a real sword. It's a real thought. It's a real word. It's a real instance. It's a real moment. Swords represent air, things that are passing, things that pass through. They move swiftly and they hurt. They are sharp. Okay? This is a particular moment of sharpness with the 5. 5 representing 5 represents conflict. In all the tarot, 5 of whatever, that's a conflict of whatever. And this is a conflict of the mind. And it has to do with other people because there's more than one person in the card. It's not an inner conflict. It's a conflict with others. It's a battle. It's not competition like the 5 of Wands so much, but a defeat. You are hurting. Someone rejected you, or you rejected someone recently. You feel separate. You feel you need to be on guard. You feel like you need to get revenge. You want revenge. But this card, to turn to the next card, to process this experience, this conflict, those words that can never be unsaid. The moon can never be put back into the sky without blood dripping down from it. Not after you stab someone in the back. I mean, pretty much this lady's impaled, but like from the behind. I don't know. Seems like this lady's super angry. She was stabbed in the back. Even though that injury caused new growth, and she grew and learned, and her tree self, not her sword self, but her tree self started to come out. Her old self, her wise self, the one who's patient, it's coming out, and she's still angry. What can we do when we're angry at somebody or have a verbal conflict with them? We don't even know what was really said or what was really meant. Words are so intangible sometimes. But my intuition tells me that the message is to accept the defeat. And I don't know what acceptance is for you, but for me it is being okay that that thing happened. Feeling strong in my own sense of what's right or wrong. And accepting that other people's logic is going to be different than mine. I don't need to get revenge. I don't need to sweep down and show them my power. Because when I do, when I immerse myself in that conflict, when I immerse myself in that obsession to right a wrong, to make my belief system theirs, I turn my back to my own new growth. So, where does this lead? And I hope you do not stay here long. And I hope I don't stay here long. Where does it lead? Well, of course it leads to the Six of Swords, which is turning away. Turning away from this. But to turn away, you need to accept defeat. Accept rejection. Accept that your words have not always been pretty. Hold yourself accountable. Be real with your own mind. I think I'd like to pick 3 more cards because I'm feeling the heaviness of this card. So I'm going to pick a card that represents that are advice for how to accept defeat and rejection and to hold yourself accountable for your conflicting thoughts. I'm going to look at this card. Okay? Just one more time, I want you to look at the feet. Look at those feet. That person already has like crazy sword legs. Looks like they had a much smaller sword in their back than this huge moon sword they're trying to spear this lady with. These are the way we use our thoughts and our words to create conflict. Or we do it as a reaction to feeling hurt, as a reaction to feeling injured. And this is just a reminder that words can be far more piercing than physical injury. So, let's take a breath. And I'm going to go pick 3 cards. Spiritual, mental, emotional guidance. Mental, emotional combined. And guidance of the heart. Spiritual, mental, emotional, and love and relationships guidance, okay? This is definitely a relationship card. Perhaps, though, it is based in the relationship you have with yourself and how you treat your own self and how you talk to your own self will be reflected in how you talk to others. But let's go pick 3 cards. Okay, I'll be right back. Oh, hi, Jayla. Jayla's here. Spiritual, mental, emotional, love and relationships. Here they are. Hi, Jayla. Okay, so spiritual. Whoa. Camera just went blank. Spiritual message of guidance Ace of Swords, my friend. Gonna look at this card for a second. Looks like two goddesses sitting on a cloud with some huge god eyes in the sky. Third eye flower right here. I see a long sword going down what would be the nose. First piece of guidance for spiritual category is trust your intuition. There is a part of you that is divine, that can see more than what is apparent on the surface. We call it divine, but it is also simply something that is observant, something that is observing all the time. We know that our bodies are never truly asleep or unconscious. They're always recording our sensations. Surely we must have some ability to have some access to that. That knowledge of everything we've ever experienced. Use your intuition to know what to do. You are encouraged to believe in yourself, to look for clarity, to see two sides of this double-edged sword. See an inner and an outer part. See from your perspective or from someone else's. Look deeply. But this is the pure element of sword, the ace. Sword is not always a conflicted mind. Swords are not always sharp and injurious words that you speak to your ex-best friend. A sword is a mirror, especially the ace here, where it's the pure element of that sword energy. Look at yourself. Believe in yourself. Your intuition is there to guide you. You don't have to battle or fight or defend your intuition to anyone. If you don't like what's going on, if you feel drawn somewhere, if you want something so much, you feel it so strongly that it's so clear because you went through all the steps when it was a tiny little voice and you listened to it until it was louder, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone, and you need not involve yourself in mental conflict over it. Okay, moving on to the mental emotional card. Well, ain't that just perfect? We're having a real swordy day, my friends. 9 of Swords here. Whatever conflict you may have experienced, revenge, betrayal, feeling like stabbed in the back, this is you multiplying it in your head and redoing it in your mind, thinking about it over and over and over again. I'm going to show you this. Look at those clouds. Not only are you thinking it and like, that happened. It hurt. And I don't know what to do. I can't believe I let that person do that to me. What does this say about myself? This card also represents anxiety. So let's go look at it. I'm going to look at it and think how it's a piece of advice. I'm going to hold it like this so you can still see it. One leg is dark, the other is light. She has stars on her body. Stars almost look like scars. Many strings coming off her hair, as if She hasn't been eating well and her hair's growing thin. Her hair is made of clouds. Look, look, look. Look, look, look. Her hair is the darkness. It is the clouds. Some lines. Oh, they actually have daisies on the end. Advice. 9 of Swords. So, I'm starting to notice that the clouds are a shield. The moon is a shield. The words, the thoughts, the swords, the mental energy you spend mulling, thinking, planning, preparing for a better future, or to accept your past. Maybe something just plain awful happened and it's not your fault and you can take as much time as you need. But the advice I'm getting from this card is sort of like, do you know when you, I don't know if any of you do this, but maybe you go to bed to just sleep, to cover yourself, to put a blanket over your body, to go into that dream world, to escape from life. I often will sleep to escape. Oh, I think the advice is like, don't torment yourself by trying to shield yourself from that injury that has already happened or is yet to happen. Right now, it's just your thoughts that are actually hurting yourself. Seems like you were shielding yourself from those thoughts too. So we're going to look to the next card, kind of to understand what the advice or direction we're being encouraged to go in. The next card of this Ten of Swords. So, one cannot, in the tarot, the theory is that you cannot move to the Ten of Swords unless you've done the Nine of Swords first. Nine of Swords isn't bad per se, even though it's pretty much like the most mentally agonizing card in the entire deck. Like, it's pure agony, mental agony. I mean, this is like staying up all night, not being able to go to sleep, not being able to eat, not even knowing what to do, like falling down in exhaustion. And as a piece of advice, maybe it's like, don't get there. Don't let yourself dwell here. Use it. How can you use that? How can you use that agony, that pain, that anxiety, that agitation, that discomfort being in your own skin? I'm not sure. But you can only carry such a burden for so long, and eventually you'll have to let it go. If our first card was the Ace of Swords, and we saw how the sword could be used as a mirror for inner clarity, in combination, connecting your mind to your heart, letting your intuition allow you to see, then this advice is like, do not multiply your pain. Do not allow the sword to be an object of suffering. Do not allow your mind to create more suffering. You're going to get so confused. Do your best to stop thinking. That's the message. Oh yeah. Just stop thinking. Do your best. If something's bothering you and thinking about it makes you upset, try not to think about that. Your mind can only take you so far. Can't do all the work. And perhaps find the better shield. Don't make yourself into the shield. Don't injure yourself to recover more. I don't know what to say about this Nine of Swords, but I guess this is one of those things where agony may happen, you don't have control over it. But if you can just go and pass through you, and accepting that this experience is agonizing, then you will be able to drop it, let it go, which is what happens in the 10. And all the swords are, all the process of the swords, like the over-analysis, like late night, can't stop thinking, Nine of Swords energy, it's part of you being in a process of strengthening your mind and really honing in on the ability your mind has to alter your reality and to especially affect your mental and emotional state. So just acknowledge it. You have that power. It's hard to acknowledge when it's hurting you. But if it can do this damage, you can also use it for clarity. Discernment. Okay, and love and relationships advice, and I'm going to say something to look forward to. Something to look forward to. Ooh. We have a mermaid with many oceanic riches. A martini. At least a cup of wine. This is the Page of Cups. And I'm going to end this video right here. Like a young adult that has no idea what they're getting themselves into, release yourself into the world and embrace all the love from all the areas that you have to offer. This is your emotional self does not have to be purely mental. Let your whims guide you. Let your whims guide you. Move towards what you want, what you really truly want. Move away from what hurts you. Move away from it. Find a space that is soft and gentle on your skin. Move towards what is gentle. And also, Page of Cups is about new beginnings as well. New beginnings of emotions. It could be new beginnings of relationship. It could be new beginnings of creative projects, creative energy. I'm feeling this is like, I guess this card reminds me of my friend Cassie. And just being warm to yourself and others. And remembering that not everyone is going to be difficult to talk to. Not everyone is going to make you feel defeated. And whatever you can do to create this I'll do it. Hold on. To create this watery love between yourself and others. To treat your own self like a beautiful jewel. Like you're just going into the world to be shiny. You have to love yourself, obviously. This person loves themselves enough to pay attention to other people. Enough to pay attention to themselves. And they're a child. This is not an advanced form of cups. But this is someone confident enough in themselves to go try new things. To jump into unknown situations. To totally use their intuition to do any of this, or it wouldn't even be possible. And to dig deep into that part of yourself that some people call the feminine, the nurturing force within yourself. the force that is there to bring balance. I don't even want to call it the feminine. It's love. It's the force that brings balance. This person is holding their cup open. It's even spilling out. They're open. They're moving on from the Nine of Swords. They are open. When you are open, you are open to being hurt. But you are also open to being loved. And instead of closing yourself up because somebody hurt you, maybe that was just something that happens to everybody. Everybody gets rejected. Everybody feels defeated. Try your best to just remember that you don't have to make it last forever. It can be kind of floating away. You can kind of float away and get distracted too. Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you find something to get distracted with? Go dancing. Do art. Make tea. Be the most kind to yourself. Bubble baths. Laying in the grass. Opening windows for cats. Speaking of which, I've got to go open a window for a cat. Okay, bye. Here you go. You can go outside now. I think we can all go outside now.